The House of Lorraine, the main and now only remaining line known as Habsburg-Lorraine, was one of the most important and longest reigning royal houses in the history of Europe. Its senior agnates of the Dukes of Hohenberg, although the house is currently headed by Karl Habsburg-Lothringen, the titular Emperor of Austria, King of Hungary, Bohemia, Galicia and Lodomeria, Croatia, Illyria, as well as the titular King of Jerusalem. Ancestry. House of Ardennes. The house claims descent from Gerhard of Paris, whose immediate descendants are known as the Gerhardides. The Mattfriedings of the 10th century are thought to have been a branch of the family. At the turn of the 10th century they were counts of Metz and ruled a set of lordships in Alsace and Lorraine. The Renaissance Dukes of Lorraine tended to arrogate to themselves claims to Carolingian ancestry, as illustrated by Alexandre Dumas, père in the novel La Dame de Montsoreau. In fact, so little documentation survives on the early generations that the reconstruction of a family tree for progenitors of the House of Alsace involves a good deal of guesswork. What is more securely demonstrated is that in 1048 Emperor Henry III gave the Duchy of Upper Lorraine first to Adalbert of Metz and then to his brother Gerard, whose successors retained the duchy until the death of Charles the Bold in 1431. Houses Vaudemont and Guise. After a brief interlude of 1453 to 1473, when the duchy passed in right of Charles's daughter to her husband John of Calabria, a Capetian, Lorraine reverted to the House of Vaudemont, a junior branch of House of Lorraine, in the person of René II, who later added to his titles that of Duke of Bar. The French Wars of Religions, or the rise of a junior branch of the Lorraine family, the House of Guise, which became a dominant force in French politics and, during the later years of Henry III's reign, was on the verge of succeeding to the throne of France. Mary of Guise, mother of Mary, Queen of Scots, also came from this family. Under the Bourbon monarchy, the remaining branch of the House of Guise, headed by the Duc d'Elba, remained part of the highest ranks of French aristocracy, while the senior branch of the House of Vaudemont continued to rule the independent duchies of Lorraine and Bar. Louis XIV's imperialist ambitions forced the dukes into a permanent alliance with his archenemies, the Holy Roman Emperors from the House of Habsburg. House of Habsburg-Lorraine. Following the failure of both Emperor Joseph I and Emperor Charles VI to produce a son and heir, the Pragmatic Sanction of 1713 left the throne to the latter's yet unborn daughter, Maria Theresa. In 1736 Emperor Charles arranged her marriage to Francis of Lorraine, who agreed to exchange his hereditary lands for the Grand Duchy of Tuscany. At Charles's death in 1740 the Habsburg lands passed to Maria Theresa and Francis, who was later elected Holy Roman Emperor as Francis I. The Habsburg-Lorraine nuptials and dynastic union precipitated and survived the War of the Austrian Succession. Francis and Maria Theresa's daughters Marie Antoinette and Maria Carolina became queens of France and Naples, Sicily, respectively, while the sons Joseph II and Leopold II succeeded to the imperial title. Apart from the core Habsburg dominions, including the Triple Crowns of Austria, Hungary, and Bohemia, several junior branches of the House of Habsburg-Lorraine reigned in the Italian duchies of Tuscany, Parma, and Modena. Another member of the house, Archduke Maximilian of Austria, was Emperor of Mexico. In 1900, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria contracted a morganatic marriage with Countess Sophie Chotek. The descendants, known as the House of Hohenberg, have been excluded from succession to the Austrian-Hungarian crown, but not that of Lorraine, where morganatic marriage has never been outlawed. Nevertheless, Otto von Habsburg, the eldest grandson of Franz Ferdinand's younger brother, was universally regarded as the head of the house until his death in 2011. It was at Nancy, the former capital of the House of Vaudemont, that the Crown Prince married Princess Regina of Saxe-Meiningen in 1951. Dukes of Lorraine family tree. The genealogical history of the house is securely documented from the early 11th century but may tentatively be traced in male line to the 8th century. Gerhard, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1028 to 1070. Theodoric II, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1055 to 1115. Simon I, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1080 to 1138. Matthias I, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1110 to 1176. Frederick I, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1140 to 1207. Frederick II, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1165 to 1213. Matthias II, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1192 to 1251. Frederick III, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1230 to 1303. Theobald II, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1260 to 1312. Frederick IV, Duke of Lorraine, 1282 to 1328. Rudolph, Duke of Lorraine, c. 1310 to 1346. John I, Duke of Lorraine, 1346 to 1390. Frederick I, Count of Vaudemont, 1346 to 1390. Antoine, Count of Vaudemont, c. 1395 to 1431. Frederick II, Count of Vaudemont, 1417 to 1470. René II, Duke of Lorraine, 1451 to 1508. Antoine, Duke of Lorraine, 1489 to 1544. Francis I, Duke of Lorraine, 1517 to 1545. Charles III, Duke of Lorraine, 1543 to 1608. Francis II, Duke of Lorraine, 1572 to 1632. Nicholas Francis, Duke of Lorraine, 1609 to 1679. Charles V, Duke of Lorraine, 1643 to 1690. Leopold, Duke of Lorraine, 1679 to 1729. Francis I, Holy Roman Emperor, 1708 to 1765. Leopold II, Holy Roman Emperor, 1747 to 1792. Francis II, Holy Roman Emperor, 1768 to 1835. Archduke Franz Karl of Austria, 1802 to 1878. Archduke Karl Ludwig of Austria, 1833 to 1896. Archduke Otto Francis of Austria, 1865 to 1906. Blessed Charles I of Austria, 1887 to 1922. Crown Prince Otto von Habsburg, 1912 to 2011. Karl von Habsburg, 1961. Ferdinand Zavonomir von Habsburg, 1997.